Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to another episode of News Dose, where I give you all of the latest gaming news. And it looks like Nintendo may be announcing another big game this week. Of course, last week we did get the announcement for Paper Mario the Origami King, and now VentureBeat is reporting that there is no Nintendo Direct in sight, so these random announcements may be their way of announcing new games for the rest of this year. So stick with me and we will talk about this game that could be announced later this week. Also, we got some new information on an unannounced AAA Xbox Series X exclusive that's getting fans just a little bit excited, so you're not going to want to miss that either. But as always, let's go over some of the quick news first. To start this episode off, we got a big update on the Dark Souls franchise. It's of course no secret that Dark Souls is one of the most influential games to ever exist, as it really has almost created its own genre. There are just so many games that has tried to emulate the combat within Dark Souls, so you know they're doing something right with this franchise. Well, it has been announced that the Dark Souls franchise has sold 27 million units, and 10 million of those are coming from their most recent release, Dark Souls 3. That is very impressive, and honestly, it's well deserved. I love the Dark Souls franchise myself, and really I have since day one of buying Demon's Souls, which technically is a different franchise, but at one point in time I was actually considering importing that game from Japan for the PlayStation 3 before it was officially announced to be coming to the West. Now I should note here that neither Demon's Souls or Bloodborne are included in this 27 million figure. I do know a lot of people refer to them as the Soulsborne games, but technically they are from different franchises, which again, that just makes this figure even more impressive. 27 million for 3 games. That's just incredible. Moving on though, there has been one publisher that I've been watching for the last couple years, and sometimes I don't think people realize it, but the Embracer Group, previously known as THQ Nordic, is slowly taking over the game industry. They have just acquired so much IP and so many developers over the last couple years, it's just absolutely insane. So in a recent report, they stated that they have 118 games in development right now, with 69 of them being unannounced. That's a lot of games in development, and they did note that Biomutant will be releasing sometime this fiscal year, which ends March of 2021. They didn't really give any other hints as to what these 69 games will be, but they did talk about some of their beloved franchises, including Kingdom Come Deliverance, Darksiders, Metro, Remnants from the Ashes, amongst several others, so you have to wonder if they'll try to continue some of these franchises onward. In other news, it has been officially announced that Tencent will be taking over the System Shock franchise, and fans seem to be a little mixed about this news. System Shock, of course, is a very nostalgic franchise for a lot of people, and it's often considered one of the most influential first-person shooter franchises ever made, and Otherside Entertainment was working on System Shock 3, but reportedly the studio was having issues to the point it looked as if the game itself was dead. Fast forward to today, and it now appears Tencent saved this game, as Otherside Entertainment had this to say. As a smaller indie studio, it had been challenging for us to carry the project on our own. We believe Tencent's deep capabilities and expertise as a leading game company will bring the franchise to new heights. So there it is, and I understand people's concern with Tencent. They have been known to have a lot of microtransactions, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this game will be plagued with the same issues. And honestly, if you want System Shock 3, then this looks like it would have been the only way. The game basically looked dead up until now, so now we just need to hope it turns out well. And speaking of Tencent, they have managed to hire Ichro Imaizumi as the production manager, which if you don't know that name, it's actually a pretty big hire. Imaizumi was the production manager for several Hideo Kojima games in the past, including all of the Metal Gear Solid games since Metal Gear Solid 2. In fact, it seems that Ken and Hideo Kojima's relationship together was a key in the success for those games, as Ken followed Hideo Kojima once he departed with Konami, and he was the production manager for Hideo Kojima's most recent title, Death Stranding. Though this is where the story starts to become a little bit more shaky, as the Video Game Chronicles reported back in November of 2019, right after the release of Death Stranding, Ken decided to leave Kojima Productions, and while it is unclear as to the reason why, one source for VGC did say that it was because some kind of disagreement with Kojima and Imaizumi. There is no confirmation on that, but it was a huge departure as they do go hand in hand together. But now Imaizumi has found a new home with Tencent, and it will certainly be exciting to see what kind of game he works on as Tencent is trying to reach a larger audience. With that said though, we do have a new game announcement today from NetEase, and I don't usually talk about NetEase, but they announced a pretty interesting game today by the name of Project Ragnarok. It is being explained as a Norse mythology open-world adventure game, though Daniel Ahmad over on Twitter did say that this game in particular is trying to mix a type of MMO gameplay with a premium AAA experience. I'm not really sure as to what that means, but based off this trailer, I'm certainly interested in seeing more. Now, the specific consoles have not been confirmed just yet, but from this announcement, it does sound like it will be available on PC, consoles, and on mobile as well. I know the mobile edition is always concerning for hardcore gamers, but if we get any more news on this game, I'll certainly try to keep you updated on it. Now let's talk about Nintendo for a moment, because a few things have happened today regarding Nintendo. So they are starting to reopen their repair centers in North America, which is really good news. I know a lot of customers have had issues with stick drift, including myself. I actually did send one of my Joy-Cons in for repair right before they shut down, but one thing people have been doing during all these shutdowns has been playing games. Of course, the Switch is an insanely popular device, especially in times like this, and Animal Crossing released during these weird times, so I do imagine a lot of people are experiencing stick drift, but have yet to be able to get their Joy-Cons repaired. Luckily for you though, this will all be changing and you should be able to repair these issues now. And that is all good and everything, but we do have something a little bit more exciting to talk about. Well, on this channel, we have talked in great length about a possible Pikmin game being released for the Nintendo Switch sometime this year. This will most likely be a Pikmin 3 remaster for the Switch, though to this point it has yet to be officially announced, though several leaks have been pointing to a release sometime this year, including insiders and even well-respected news outlets. Well, now according to the insider Leaky Panda, which has had a pretty decent track record in the past, is saying that Pikmin will be announced for the Nintendo Switch this Friday. Now, Leaky Panda doesn't actually say it's Pikmin 3, but I still do believe that is what it will be. And of course, this has not been confirmed by Nintendo themselves, so you do have to take this with a grain of salt. With that said though, it's only 2 short days away, so we will find out real quick on whether or not we should trust Leaky Panda going forward. Based off everything that we do know though, I do expect a Pikmin announcement sometime this year, even if it doesn't happen this week. I will ask you though, would you be excited for a Pikmin 3 if it gets announced for the Switch? Let me know in the comments below. On to the next topic though, because we got some new information on a big AAA first-party game for the Xbox Series X. So we all know, of course, that Xbox has been acquiring a lot of studios over the last couple years, and have also been hiring a lot of new developers for these studios. Well, one of those studios has been InXile, headed by the legendary Brian Fargo, the same guy who has worked on big RPGs such as the original Fallout, Bard's Tale, and the Wasteland franchise. So he does have a good track record for some coveted RPGs, but one thing about InXile is that they have often lacked polish with some of their previous games. A lot of this is because of budgetary reasons or restraints with the creative process, so with Microsoft's backing, they are slated to make a much bigger game this time around. In fact, since the acquisition, they have grown the studio to more than 100 developers compared to the previous 60 to 70, and one of their most recent hires was the lead combat designer for none other than God of War. See, and that's the thing, we have known since December of 2019 that InXile is working on a AAA single-player RPG with action elements to it, and with their recent hire of this God of War combat designer, we can maybe start to picture what kind of game this may end up being. But we got even more information today because Brian Fargo has confirmed that this AAA RPG will be taking advantage of the recently announced Unreal Engine 5. This should be pretty much expected as most Xbox studios does use Unreal Engine, but it still is nice to see confirmation that some of these studios are already looking to use this next generation technology. As for InXile though, I actually think they may surprise a lot of people next generation. I do think that they make good RPGs, and even Wasteland 3 looks really good. Their most recent RPGs though are a little bit more niche, but from the sounds of it, they may be looking for a much larger scale game for this next generation. With Brian Fargo there and some of their recent hires talent-wise, we may end up getting a great game here for the Xbox Series X. For that matter, Xbox is looking to be a beast when it comes to Western RPGs next generation. If you really think about it, they have Playground Games, which is working on a big AAA RPG and probably a Fable game. Then you have Obsidian Entertainment, which is among the best RPG developers in the industry. And you have InXile, which is now working on a AAA single-player RPG using Unreal Engine 5. I mean, we still need to see these games, but on paper, it really sounds exciting. I will ask you though, what type of game do you want this to be? Let me know in the comments below. And for the last topic of the day, and I will make this one quick, but according to Eurogamer, the Call of Duty this year will be titled Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, which means all of the rumors about it were true. Reportedly, they will be teasing this game through the popular Warzone, which has more than 60 million players now, which is just insane. These teases have already been taking place, and players have even glitched through walls to see a Cold War era spy plane. So if you're excited for the new Call of Duty this year, you might want to pay attention to updates in Warzone, as that will probably be the first place you get news on this upcoming Call of Duty. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget to bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Peace out.